My 8-year-old son was being bullied at his new school because of the burn scars on his arms. When the school failed to stop it, I decided to confront the bully's father myself. I expected denial, excuses, maybe even an argument. What I didn't expect was for this stranger to look at my son's scars and whisper, "I know those scars." At that moment, I had no idea who the man in front of me really was. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever discovered an unexpected connection with someone that changed your perspective completely? Share your experience in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about resilience, second chances, and human connection. Now, let me take you back to the day when my son's scars revealed a truth that changed our lives forever. I'd been a single father for 5 years, ever since the apartment fire that took my wife Hannah and left my 3-year-old son, Ethan, with burns over nearly a third of his body. The physical scars had healed as best they could, but the emotional wounds for both of us were still fresh. Ethan was now 8, a bright, sensitive boy who loved dinosaurs and building Legos. He was tougher than I ever imagined, adapting to life with his scars better than I had. But his resilience was being tested in painful ways at his new school. We had moved across the city after I got a job promotion, and the new district was supposed to be better. What I didn't anticipate was how cruel children can be to anyone who looks different. At first it was small. Whispers, stares, classmates refusing to sit with him at lunch, but it quickly escalated when one boy, Tyler Thompson, singled him out. One evening, while I helped Ethan with homework, he looked at me and asked quietly, "Dad, am I a monster?" The words hit me like a blow. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Tyler says I look like a monster because of my arms. He says that sip's why my mom died, because monsters can have normal families." I felt a surge of anger only a parent could understand. I knelt down to his level. "Ethan, listen to me. You are not a monster. You are brave, kind, smart, and the best son any father could hope for. Those scars, they're proof you survived. Proof you're stronger than anything life throws at you." "Isunder." "Then why does Tyler say it?" he asked. But my reassurances weren't enough. The bullying worsened. Tyler convinced other kids to avoid Ethan, spreading lies that his scars were contagious. Ethan began having nightmares again, something that hadn't happened in over a year. He begged me not to make him go back to school, because some people confuse different with less. And when people don't understand, they get scared. Fear often comes out as cruelty. I went to the school first. His teacher, Mrs. Alvarez, was sympathetic but overwhelmed. "Mr. Walsh, I've spoken to Tyler several times, and I've contacted his parents. But bullying is complicated. And Tyler, he's dealing with challenges at home." "What kind of challenges?" I pressed. I then met with the principal, Dr. Norris. She spoke at length about restorative justice and conflict resolution strategies. "I can share details, but his family situation is difficult. His father is struggling with personal issues. We are implementing a new anti-bullying program. Tyler will join peer mediation, and we will host a school-wide assembly on acceptance." Tyler grabbed it at recess, Ethan explained, holding back tears. He said monsters don't deserve nice things. That night, after Ethan fell asleep, I made up my mind. The school wasn't protecting my son. I would handle it myself. Weeks passed, and nothing changed. If anything, Tyler became bolder, feeling untouchable. The breaking point came when Ethan returned home with his favorite dinosaur t-shirt ripped. On Saturday morning, I drove to the Thompsons' house. It was a small ranch-style home, yard unkempt, paint peeling. A pickup sat in the driveway, a motorcycle covered under a tarp in the garage. My heart pounded as I knocked. I had rehearsed my words. I would tell them their son was tormenting mine, and it had to stop. The door opened to a man in his early 40s, tall, graying hair, tired eyes, Scars marked his hands and forearms. He moved carefully, like someone long accustomed to injury. "Can I help you?" he asked, cautious, but not unkind. "I am Gene Thompson, and you are. Are you Tyler Thompson, Sepp's father?" "Jeremy Walsh. My son Ethan is in Tyler Sipp's class." The house was modest but clean, functional furniture, a few family photos, most of the recent ones showing Tyler only with his father. No mother in sight. Recognition flickered in his eyes, followed by resignation. "Ah," he said quietly, stepping aside. "I think I know why you stepper here. Please, come in." "Coffee?" Gene offered. John Sepp's shoulders slumped. "I know. I Sepp been trying to help Tyler, but he Sepp's angry. We Sepp been going through a rough time." "This isn't set a social visit," I said firmly. "Your son has been bullying mine for weeks. He Sepp's making Ethan Sepp's life miserable, and the school isn't set stopping it." "That doesn't set give him the right to torment other kids," I snapped. "Do you know what he Sepp's been saying? He calls my son a monster. He even told him that Sepp's why his mother died." "You heard me. Your son is tormenting an 8-year-old for looking different." Jen Sepp's face drained of color. "He said that." Gene ran a hand through his hair. "Mr. Walsh, I said I'm so sorry. I didn't set no. The teacher only told me he was being unkind. Not this." He shook his head, ashamed. "This is unacceptable. I said we'll deal with Tyler right away." "It sets beyond Tyler now," I said sharply. "My son is terrified to go to school. He Sepp's having nightmares. He thinks he Sepp's a monster because of what your son has told him." I hesitated, caught off guard. Burned scars on his arms and chest. He was in a fire when he was 3. John froze. His voice dropped. "Scars? You mentioned scars. What kind?" Suspicion rose in me. "Why does it matter what they look like? Would you mind if I saw them? The scars?" Gene went rigid, his face turning pale. "Please," Gene said, voice trembling. "I need to see them." Something in his tone made me pause. I pulled up a photo on my phone. Ethan at the beach, his arms and shoulders bare. Gene stared at the picture, his hands shaking. "Oh my God," he whispered. "I know those scars." "What do you mean, you know them?" I asked. "Mr. Walsh, what was your wife Sepp's name?" Jan looked up, his eyes filled with a pain that felt unbearable. "Hannah. Hannah Walsh." "Why?" My blood ran cold. "How do you know that?" "The fire, 5 years ago. George Street Apartments." Gene sank into a chair, face buried in his hands. "I was the firefighter who carried your son out of that building." "Because I was there," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The room seemed to shift. I stared at this man, this stranger claiming to have been part of the worst day of my life, trying to absorb his words. "That Sepp's not possible," I said. "The firefighter who saved Ethan, his name was Thompson." "Eugene Thompson," he replied quietly. "Gene is short for Eugene." My stomach turned. "You stupper him. You stupper the one who saved my son." Gene nodded. "Yes. And the one who couldn't save your wife." "You were injured in the fire," I said, recalling what the fire chief had told me, that the firefighter who carried Ethan out was hurt when the ceiling collapsed. Silence filled the room, and in that silence, everything clicked. His weary eyes, the careful way he moved, the scars across his hands, and why there was no mother in Tyler's photos. Gene rolled up his sleeves, showing deep scars along his arms. Left shoulder crushed, 3 ribs broken, 2nd-degree burns on my back and arms. But that wasn't the hardest part. "What was?" I asked. "The hardest part was knowing I could only go up once. The building was too unstable. I had to choose. I could save your son, or I could try for your wife. I couldn't do both." Tears stung my eyes. Not from anger this time, but from understanding, shared grief. And I couldn't set save your wife. I set carried that choice every day for 5 years. I made a decision that meant a woman died, and a child lost his mother. You saved my son, I said softly. Jan, I said firmly, you didn't make a choice. You made the only choice possible. You saved a 3-year-old. My wife was already unconscious when you got there. The fire chief told me later she wouldn't have survived even if you had reached her first. But Ethan was still awake, still fighting. You saved the one who could be saved. Blame you. For years, I've been grateful to the firefighter named Eugene Thompson, who risked everything for my son. I never thought I'd get the chance to thank him in person. Gene looked at me, surprised. You don't blame me. Is that why you left the fire department? I asked. We sat quietly, both processing the impossible connection between us. Gene nodded. My body healed mostly, but my mind didn't. I started drinking, having panic attacks whenever alarms went off. I couldn't trust myself to keep making those kinds of decisions. And then, Tyler's mother left 2 years ago. She said she couldn't live with a broken man. Tyler blames me for her leaving. He's been angry since, acting out at school, fighting. I've tried to help him, but most days I'm barely holding on myself. So he's been taking that anger out on other children, I said. I walked over and faced him directly. Gene, you have nothing to apologize for. You are a hero. You saved my son Sep's life, and nearly lost your own doing it. What Tyler has done doesn't change that. Gene lowered his head, and I didn't see how bad it had become. Mr. Walsh, I am so sorry, not only for Tyler Sip's actions, but for everything, for not being able to save your wife, for the pain you and your son have lived with. Then maybe, I said. It's time he knew the truth. Gene was quiet for a long moment. Finally he nodded. You stir right. Tyler needs to understand what real courage looks like, and what real consequences are. Would you stay while I talk to him? I think he should hear this story, and he should know the boy whose life I saved. But Tyler doesn't know, Gene admitted. He doesn't know about the fire. He doesn't know that Ethan is the boy I saved. He only sees scars, and he been cruel. Ethan isn't with me today, I said. He's at his grandmother Zet's. Gene called Tyler down. A boy of about 8 entered the room, sulking. He had his father's dark hair and weary eyes, but his face carried a bitterness far beyond his age. That's okay. Tyler needs to hear it first. Then maybe the boys can meet properly. Tyler, Gene said firmly, but gently, this is Mr. Walsh. He's Ethan, Sep's father. Sit down, Gene told him. We need to talk. Tyler immediately looked defensive. I didn't do anything. For the next hour, Gene explained everything. His time as a firefighter, the fire that changed everything, the moment he had to decide who to carry out. He told his son about the 3-year-old boy he saved while nearly losing his own life. Tyler listened, eyes widening, face draining of color. The boy I saved, Gene said finally, was Ethan. The boy you been calling a monster. Tyler's voice cracked. Ethan, but... Tyler broke down then, real tears. Not from anger, but regret. No sorry, he whispered. I didn't know. I didn't know. Those scars, Gene said quietly, are not something to mock. They were proof. Ethan survived the unthinkable. Proof he is stronger than most adults I've ever known, and yet you tormented him. You called him a monster when he one of the bravest children alive. I know you didn't Gene said, pulling him close. But not knowing is an excuse. We don't get to hurt people because we don't understand them. Can I tell him I'm sorry? Tyler asked. I finally spoke. Tyler, Ethan would like that. But more than an apology, I think he like a friend. A friend who sees him as the smart, kind, and brave boy he is. If he is, you come straight to me, I said. But I don't think he will be. That Monday, I walked Ethan to school. He held my hand tightly, nervous. Dad, what if Tyler is mean again? Tyler nodded quickly. I want to. I want to be his friend. I want to make it right. As we entered the school, Tyler and Jean were already waiting. Tyler stepped forward, face serious but soft. Ethan, I stepped Tyler. I stepped sorry. I was mean to you. I called you names and made fun of your scars. But I didn't set no. I didn't set no. You set re hero. Tyler looked at his father, who nodded. My dad told me about the fire, how he carried you out. He said your scars aren't set ugly. They sepper proof you setter the bravest person he seppers ever met. A hero? Ethan asked, confused. Jean knelt to his level, tears in his eyes. Yes, and I thought of you every single day for 5 years, hoping you were safe, wondering if you remembered. I remember, Ethan whispered. I remember someone holding me saying I sit be okay. Ethan Sepp's eyes widened. He turned to Jean, realization spreading across his face. You do stir, the firefighter, the one who carried me out. Jean Sepp's voice shook. That was me, and you were okay. More than okay, you grew into an incredible boy. Tyler stepped closer. Ethan, I hurt you because I was angry about other things. I took it out on you. That was wrong. Can you, maybe forgive me? Ethan looked at Tyler for a long moment, then glanced at me and back again. That's right, buddy, I said as Ethan turned to Tyler. I forgive you, Ethan told him. But you have to promise not to be mean to other kids who look different. My dad always says forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, not just others. I promise, Tyler answered sincerely. And, can we be friends? I could show you my Lego collection. My dad said you like building things. For the first time in weeks, I saw Ethan's face brighten with genuine excitement. You have Legos? What kind? As the boys chatted about their shared interests, Jean and I stepped aside. All kinds, Tyler replied. The big Millennium Falcon, and even some dinosaur sets. Thank you, he said quietly. For bringing Ethan today, for letting Tyler apologize, and for forgiving me. Jean, there's nothing to forgive, I told him. But I do have a request. Ethan has been struggling not only with the bullying, but with questions about the fire, his mother, and that day. I think it would help him to hear the story from you, to know someone fought for him and risked everything to save him. How about this weekend? You and Tyler can come over for dinner. Ethan can show Tyler his dinosaurs, and afterward you can share the parts of the story an 8-year-old can handle. Jean nodded. I be honored. Whenever you think he steps ready. That Saturday evening, Jean and Tyler joined us for dinner. It was the first time in months I had seen Ethan laugh so freely. He and Tyler bonded quickly over dinosaurs and Legos, and Tyler showed a new side of himself, kind, thoughtful, and understanding. I like that, Jean agreed. After dinner, while the boys played, Jean sat with Ethan and shared his version of the fire. He kept it simple: the courage of the firefighters, the importance of smoke detectors, and how proud he was of Ethan's strength. Were you scared? Ethan asked. I was, Jean admitted. But being scared doesn't mean you not brave. Bravery is doing the right thing even when you afraid. Is that why you saved me? Even though you were scared? Ethan was quiet, then slowly rolled up his sleeves and showed Jean his scars. I saved you, Jean said gently, because that's what firefighters do. We protect people. And you, Ethan, were worth protecting. Do they look different now than when I was little? What? Ethan asked. I see proof you a fighter. They evidence you survived something that would have defeated many others. They the marks of a warrior. Jean studied them carefully. They healed beautifully. Your doctors did an incredible job. But you know what I see when I look at them. A warrior? Ethan repeated. That's Sep's right. These scars are your battle wounds. They tell the story of a fight you won. From then on, everything shifted. Tyler became Ethan's closest friend and strongest defender at school. When other kids stared at Ethan's scars or asked hurtful questions, Tyler explained that Ethan was a fire survivor, a real hero. You know what's strange, Jean said one evening, as we watched the boys play in the yard. For 5 years I thought I failed that day, that I hadn't done enough. But now I see saving. Ethan wasn't just about that moment. It gave him the chance to grow into who he is now. It gave you the chance to raise him, and it created a ripple effect that's still spreading. Jean and I formed an unlikely friendship, grounded in shared experiences and mutual respect. He began attending OA meetings, working with a therapist to manage his PTSD, and I helped him rebuild his life. In return, he reminded me that I didn't have to carry everything alone, that Ethan and I could let people in. 6 months later, Jean had been sober for 4 months and was working as a fire safety instructor, teaching children about fire prevention. Tyler, once an angry boy, had become a confident, empathetic child who stood up for others being bullied. I watched as Ethan carefully helped Tyler build a complicated Lego structure, the two boys working together with the ease of true friends. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Look at Tyler. A few months ago, he was angry and hurting, lashing out at other kids. Now Sep's learned about courage, compassion, and standing up for people who need help. That's Sep's because of Ethan, because of the example your son sets." A year later, Jean was working full-time as a fire safety coordinator for the school district. Tyler and Ethan were inseparable best friends, and I had learned that sometimes the most unexpected connections turn into the most meaningful relationships. "Used to right," I said. Ethan Sep's scars used to make him feel ashamed. Now they become a source of strength. And Tyler has learned that real strength isn't about making others feel small. It's about lifting them up. The scars that once made my son a target became the bridge that connected us to people who truly understood our journey. John had saved Ethan's life 5 years earlier. But in many ways, Ethan had saved John's life too, by showing him that his actions mattered, that his choice had been the right one, and that he was still a hero. I often think about how different things would be if I hadn't confronted Tyler's father that day. If I had accepted the school's inadequate response, transferred Ethan again, or let frustration guide my choices. But I'm grateful every day that I chose to fight for my son. In doing so, I found something unexpected, a family that understood us, friends who saw Ethan's scars as marks of courage, and a community built on shared support. Ethan's scars will always be part of his story, but now, instead of representing pain, they remind us of his survival, his strength, and the powerful connections that grew from them. They prove that sometimes our greatest wounds become our greatest gifts, and often the people who help us survive are the ones who truly understand our pain. This is a powerful reminder that our hardest struggles can lead to the deepest healing, and that scars can connect us in ways we never imagined. What do you think about Jean's journey, from carrying guilt to finding new purpose? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story of forgiveness, resilience, and connection moved you, please support us by liking this video, subscribing for more inspiring stories, and turning on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.